Presentation visible? It is shared.
Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Sanket Charkha this side from Siemens Institutes, Pune, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. We are starting with the next topic of point of discussion is Companies Act 1956, wherein we have seen the different types of companies in my last lecture. Meaning of or definition of company is to a company incorporated under the Companies Act 1956 or any other previous company law into existence. Salient features of company with respect to incorporated association, separate legal entity, limited liability, perpetual succession, separate property, transferability of shares, common seal, capacity to sue and being sued, and lastly the separate management. Then we have seen classification of company on the basis of incorporation, liability, members, control, and ownership, wherein further they are divided as public, private, producer, deemed public, limited, unlimited, section 25, holding, subsidiary, government, and foreign company. Differentiation or distinction between public and private company, types of companies, explanation as to public and private company, privileges and exemptions of the private limited company, types of companies with respect to producer company, companies deemed to be a public company, public limited and limited companies, unlimited company, section 25 companies, holding company and subsidiary companies. Answer to Mr. Dada. That is, which are what are the various privileges as to if you want to get a benefits or you want to avail the benefits for a certain consideration, then you have to register yourself under the section 25 of the Companies Act of 1956, and then the privileges with respect to the exemption in the tax, duties, customs, it can be availed by the organization. We have taken a good example with respect to a holding company and subsidiary with respect to how the share capital, if it has been divided, if it has been taken over by a certain firm, then the person who is taking over the business or who is having the major proportion is called as a holding company, and subsidiary company, the company whose share it has been held by some another company, that company is been called as a subsidiary company. Then what is a government company, wherein more than 55% of the paid up share capital is held by the government, and such type of company is called as a government company. And foreign company means which is incorporated or registered outside India but is conducting the business activities in the Indian boundaries. Okay, any difficulty at this stage? We have done with the detailed explanation. Now we are starting with the new topic, incorporation of companies. Quickly, anyone would like to ask any questions? Or we'll move ahead.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So when we charited the amount of the donation, म्हणजे सर आपण एखाद्या चॅरिटी करतो त्यावेळेस आपल्याला किती % गव्हर्नमेंटच्या टॅक्सेशन मध्ये कन्सेशन भेटतं?
Now the concept of charity or donation that has been given to the various organizations, it depends on which type of organization that you are giving for. The government has provided a certain position or certain exemptions with respect to in percentage. That is, certain organizations are being classified as a newly established, certain organizations are classified as the existing organization, and certain organizations are being classified as the old organization, which is historical perspective. So based on that, you have either 100% exemption, 51% exemption, or 5 to 10% of exemption also, depending on your amount also. That is, whether if the amount is above 2 lakhs, if the amount is below 2 lakhs, if the amount is more than 10 lakhs, and so on. So charity, yes, giving a charity to the various companies, various organizations, various institutions is permitted, but depending on the nature of the organization, your amount differs, or your percentage of taxation benefit that you are getting for, that is deduction in your income, it differs from firm to firm or company to company. That is, now for example, there is an organization called as Tirupati Balaji Temple. Now any donation given to this particular organization is 100% exempted from tax. There are another organization, we can take an example, that is there are certain ashrams, that is for example Art of Living and such type of organizations. Now what they are doing, now Tirupati Balaji, what they are doing, they are just offering services to the god, and accordingly they are not demanding any money from the people. That is, there is no source of income for that particular organization. So if you are giving certain income, if you are giving a certain amount of money to them, then it is a completely 100% our willingness. But in case of Art of Living and Patanjali, what they are doing, they are providing you services, and for that services they are charging you a certain sum of money. That is, if you go for Art of Living courses, if you purchase the products of Patanjali and so on, so what do you have to do? You have to pay for that certain organizations, that is for the services that you are rendering for. But what happened, they have been registered under the Companies Act, under the provision of the trust, that is Cooperative Societies Trust Act. So as per the provisions of the law, what will the government, what they will do, they will not provide the 100% exemption, but only 50% exemptions will be given for them. Now, another example we have, if a particular temple or a particular, for example, Vaishno Devi temple or a certain mosque which is having a good place or good origination, or a certain churches you must be knowing. So in case of this, now a particular church which is still located in Goa, certain churches in South India and so on. So for these organizations, what happened? They are fully established, they are functioning very well. There is no requirement of additional income that has been required for them. So what government has done? The government has given them a certain privilege that yes, you can accept the charity, you can accept the donation, but it will be exempted to the tax only up to the limit of 5% to 10%. So in this way, you have to categorize your firm, categorize your business activity, and from that organization, your benefit can be derived. Hello? Yes, any other?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. Sir, if I or somebody open new company, then which documentation he required?
We have further the next incorporation. We are going with
Okay.
that concern.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, sir.
Yes, quickly regarding to types of companies or the features or characteristics of company. No one else? I move.
Sir, deemed public companies, sir.
Deemed public company. Where
Yes.
is it? Deemed. Okay, I'll go to that point and then.
Fourth one.
Yes. Company is deemed to be a public limited company. So here it, now I'm not having my screen also. So if your annual turnover of a particular business or a particular firm, now initially what happened? Initially you have been registered as a particular firm which was been called as a private limited company. You go to the register of companies, you have registered your business, and you were having certain amount of consideration. That is, now what is the basic essential requirement? That is minimum paid up of capital. That is, your capital availability was rupees 1 lakh only, and accordingly only 2 members was available in your organization. But after a point of time, what happened? Your number of business started to increase, your amount of capital also started to increase. Now for this concern, I give you an example. That is a particular business firm. That is in a particular business firm, Mr. Dada, Ms. Shilpa and Mr. Sanket were 3 partners, and we 3 of us started the business together. After a point of time, Mr. Nilesh, Mr. Gopal, Mr. Kunal, Purnima, Nivedita, Darshana, Bhagyashri, Aarti, Apurva, and so on. So what happened now? What differentiation you are seeing? What is the limit of maximum number of members? That is only 50 members are allowed, and only 50 members can be a part of the organization, and then your company can be called as a private limited company. But in case, for example, if the entire class comes forwards and tomorrow they says ki all 60 members want to join the firm that has been started by Mr. Dada, Shilpa and Sanket. So here in this case, what happened? What will be the total number of members in the firm? The total number of members will be 61. That is all the 60 students, and first the 61th will be Mr. Sanket. So in this way, if the number goes above 50, automatically the firm gets converted in from private limited company to a public limited company. Your registration initially will be under the private institutional, but you will be deemed as a public limited company. Why? Because either of these conditions. What are those conditions? So out of these particular conditions, if it has been prohibited, if it has not been fulfilled, then your nature of business, your nature of firm gets converted. Or another case, for example, what you were doing, you were collecting the business from, or you were collecting the money, you were collecting the funds from the different people or the different public, that is within the members, within the organization. यानी जो आपके classmates है, from the respective classmates, you are collecting the people. But now when the number have increased, what have you started? Your fund has increased, your requirement has increased, your amount of money that has been required, it keeps on increasing. So you said to each and every individual, that is what is your capital requirement, that everyone must contribute around 1 lakh, or maximum amount of capital that has been required is 1 lakh. So here what we are doing, everyone is not able to contribute that particular sum. Your target was 61 lakh and accordingly it could not be completed. But in order to complete this particular target, what you are doing, you are continuously calling us people, and accordingly the contribution has to be done. But if it is not been fulfilled, then you have another option, that is you can go to the general public, that is through the mode of IPO, that is initial public offering, or you can go to the stock market, and from that particular platform you can raise the money. So if you are going or if you are raising the money from the general public, then accordingly what do you have to do? You have to go to the IPO, you have to take the permission from SEBI, and accordingly you have to issue the shares certificates or share warrant, whatever you are issuing for. So in this way, if you are taking the money from the general public, then automatically your business gets converted from private limited company to the public limited company. Another concern where at least of the 25% share of capital of the private company is held by one or more bodies. Now, what do these bodies means? Body means the organization. That is, if in a particular business firm, if the individual, now when I gave this example of the 60 students, out of these 60 students, for example, one of the person is having its own business. No. Who is the businessman in your class? I think Mr. Akash Khandre. So Akash Khandre is having his own business, and accordingly he is having a gold shop, or Aishwarya also. So what happened? He purchases the value from your organization. He purchases the shares of your respective firm, but that particular shares are not purchased by Mr. Akash, and he purchased the shares of the shares of your business on his firm name. So if one of the more bodies or if one organization is trying to purchase the shares of that particular firm or the organization, then your company can get converted from a private limited company to a public limited company. Your registration will be called as a private limited company, but you will be deemed as a certain organization wherein you will be enjoying the status of public limited company, wherein you can extend the amount of requirement that is that has been required, and accordingly you can raise the money from general public also. Annual turnover, now there is no requirement of turnover as such, wherein if you are a private limited company, but in case of public limited company, if the turnover is not less than 25 crores in the past 3 years, then your valuation or your conversion can be made into a public limited company. And lastly, where a private company accept deposit from after invitation made by add or new deposits from the public. So if you are taking the money from the general public by either issuing the prospectus or statement in lieu of prospectus, then also you will be called as a public limited company or a deemed company.
Thank you.
Yes. Do we move ahead?
Yes.
Now, incorporation of company. Incorporation means how does a company comes to a birth. So, what are the various factors or what are the various steps that one has to undertake for the incorporation? Incorporation simply, I have already explained you earlier, which means the birth of a particular company. That is, as in case whatever we say that Mr. Sanket has taken birth on so and so date, Mr. Poonam has taken birth on so and so date, Ms. Shilpa has taken birth on so and so date. For the same way, in the same case or in the same fashion, the company also takes the birth, and the process of birth of a particular company is called as an process step of incorporation. So steps for formation of company, first thing that you need to do is you have to identify which type of company that you are looking for. So based on the type of company, these are the various types of companies. First thing that before you start a particular company, before you give birth to a certain company, you have to define yourself. What do you want in which of these particular categories? So there are different types of categories out of these companies, out of this particular list, under which list you want to fall for. So first thing that you need to identify, first thing that you need to set for is which type of company you want to form for and what should be your nature mode of your business. Next, second step is you have to identify whether the name is available or whether the name is not available. So here in this case, availability of name plays a very important role. Why? Because whenever you go for a forming or registration of a particular company, always there must not be two companies which is of a similar name. So if the company has been found of a similar name, the registrar of companies will not issue a certificate and the company cannot come into existence. For example, the companies such as Camlin, Nike, Reebok, Reliance Industries, Tata Chemicals, Tata Power, these particular type of organizations, if already someone is owning that particular name, you cannot go again and you can register your own business with the same name. So similarity in name is not at all allowed, and every name must be different from each other. Now, for example, if you go to certain stores, what do you see? There is change in the spelling also. So if you want to pick or if you want to adopt a certain name, but if you want to be the name to be very specific only, then what the ROC gives you a certain suggestion that you have to change the spelling of that particular name or that particular firm. So in this way, there should be a different meaning, there should be a different name, there should be different spelling, and that particular name must not resemble to a existing one. So if the name is resembling to the existing one, then accordingly your proposal may be refunded, it may be rejected back, and accordingly you have to provide the new name for the organization or the new name to the business. So checking for the availability of name is essentially required. For checking this availability, you can either Google. Now, this particular platform was earlier available, but in the olden days, what the procedure what one has to follow is you have to personally visit the ROC, that is Register of Companies. You have to check all the files and records of the business firm with respect to the district-wise, state-wise, national-wise, and so on. And then only the verification of the process was been undertaken, and then the name was been granted. So here in this case, today this particular feasibility today this is not the case. You can only search out with the data that is available with the ICA, that is Indian Companies Act, and accordingly within a fraction of a second that particular name, whether it is available or not, you can be able to understand or identify very effectively. Now, for example, you have I want to start a particular business and I have registered a particular name, that is Messer Sanket Enterprises Limited. Now here in this case, what happened? I have already registered this particular business on my own name, and tomorrow, for example, Kunal also comes forward. He says he also want to register a particular business with a specific name called as Mr. Sanket Enterprises. So this is not allowed. Why? Because already one firm is being registered by this particular name, and starting a new firm with the same name, it is not accepted. It is not allowed by the Indian Companies Act 1956. So always the name must be different, and it must not be similar to the existing one. The memorandum and articles of the association duly signed and stamped. So after this case, whenever your company has been decided, whenever you decide for a particular name, you have to see that you always properly prepare what is the memorandum and what is the articles of association. It is been properly drafted, and then it has been filed with the ROC. What is MOA and AOA? We'll look further. Don't worry about it. So a proper framework, proper drafting of the memorandum, and proper forming or drafting of the articles of association is essentially required, and it must be proper signed and stamped. So signed by whom? It must be signed by all the board of directors. It must be signed by the chairman or the managing director, and then it must be filed. Stamp, that is whatever you are using. Then now here in this case, in case of features of company, what was one of the feature? Now here you can see one of the feature or the characteristic of company is the common seal. So that particular common seal. Now here, whenever you come in department, what do? I provide the round seal to you. So it acts as a signature for a particular firm or the business organization. So here in this case, in the same fashion, you have to see that a proper seal is also been affixed to that particular document, whichever you are providing or whichever you are looking for. The agreement, if any, with an individual for appointment as its managing or the whole-time director. So if any agreement has been made, that is with respect to a particular person for whom you are giving some extra or special powers. So a particular person within the organization, within the board of directors, if he is given certain additional or special powers with respect to taking the decision in the organization or in the management, then you call or you appoint him as the managing director or the whole-time director. So for the appointment of the whole-time director, if you have made a certain agreement, if it has been properly signed, then the copy of that particular agreement must also be prepared, and accordingly it must be filed with the ROC. So these are the various documents that you have to check, that you have to, now this is the checklist wherein you have to check, verify with all these particular documents, and whenever these particular documents have been fulfilled, it has been submitted with the ROC, then the ROC will process for your incorporation or birth of the company. Consent of directors in Form 29. So there is a certain specific Form 29 which has been issued by the ICA, that is Indian Companies Act 1956, and at least minimum of 2 directors has to be signed, and that particular signature, that is form of undertaking with respect to the conduct of the business activities, it must be formed, it must be fulfilled, and it must be signed and submitted with the ROC. Notice of registered address in Form 18 to be given within 30 days of the date of incorporation. So whenever you are doing with the consideration, now here what we have the concept of MOA and AOA. In the constitution of MOA, you have a certain clause which is called as a name clause or objection or the address clause. So association clause, the address clause specifically means about which will be your registered address of the firm or that particular business. So if you want to register a particular business in Pune, now you cannot say just you cannot say that Pune only or a particular pin code. You have to provide the entire full address with respect to survey number, gut number, hissa number, gully number, block number, flat number, building number, and so on. So entire detailed address has to be given to the ROC, and that particular undertaking must be signed in Form 18. For a certain period. Now, if you are starting the business today, there is a 1 month duration, that is 30 days of time period is been given for you for identifying the address. And if the address is earlier identified, then accordingly you can automatically submit the address which has been available with you. But if the address is not available, within 30 days, you can search out for a location, you can confirm the registration, and whatever copy that has been registered, either your sale deed or the agreement deed or the leave and license agreement, it has to be filed with the ROC, and you have to register under the concept of name clause, address clause, association clause, and so on, and a separate form of Form 18. Particulars of directors in Form 32. The Form 32 specimen which reflects with the consideration of particulars of director. So what is the name of director, what is the qualification, what is the date of birth, what is the education, what is the place of his residence, Aadhaar number, PAN number, and so on. So all the personal details of the directors in form number 22 has to be signed, it has to be fulfilled, it must be proper stamped, it must be properly coordinated, and it must be proper authorized by the whole time director, managing director, or the chairman of the firm, and all the directors who have been appointed must sign this particular undertaking or must fulfill this form in form 32, and all these documents must be submitted with ROC. Next thing, payment of registration fees. So whatever registration fees that is been required, so it differs from company to company depending on the type or nature of company that you are registering for. If you want to go for a public limited company, then the fee may be 1,000, 10,000, and so on. If you want to register as a state firm or a local firm or a district firm, then accordingly the charges may be 500, 200, 300, and so on. So if the firm is a national company or a national organization, then your charges differ, that is 10,000, 20,000, 25,000, and so on. For a certain consideration with respect to name, it is also considered that for using the certain names or certain categories or a certain connotations, you have to pay additional amount of charges also. Now, for example, availability of name, that is, in case of your organization, if you want to use certain names called as Bharat, India, Hindustan, and so on. So for this particular consideration, you have to pay an additional sum of money. Why? Because these particular names are having of national importance. For example, if you want to use the name of any state, that is Maharashtra Road Development, MSRDC, MSEDCL. Now these particular companies have been registered under ICA, but they are having a certain name which is included as Maharashtra. Bharat Iron Syndicate. Now this is a particular company wherein the word Bharat is being used. India Infoline Limited. So India Infoline is a particular firm in which India as a word is being used. So in this case, for the consideration for identification of name, you have to pay the registration fees also. So depending on the name also your fee differs, and depending on the nature of business also your fee differs. Power of attorney to fulfill various legals and other formalities. Now, I hope everyone must be knowing what is the meaning of power of attorney. So I need not to explain what is POA. So POA is a particular consideration. So if you are appointing any managing director, whole-time director, chairman, or the any board of directors, and if you want to give a certain power of attorney either to your lawyer, either to your chartered accountant, either to your company secretary, or to your any of the person who is been involved in the business activities, for this consideration you have to see that the power of attorney is been properly registered, the stamp duty for the affixation or formation of the power of attorney is been prepared, and the copy of power of attorney is been submitted to the ROC, that is Registrar of Companies. So all the legal formalities with respect to the creation of power of attorney with the business purpose only, that is for the purpose of conduction of the business activities, which has been either used by the chairman, managing director, whole-time director, board of director, chartered accountant, company secretary, and so on, or the lawyer or a particular financial analyst. For this consideration only, the power of attorney must be prepared, it must be properly registered, and all the formalities must be fulfilled. Statutory declaration in form number 1, that all requirements of the companies and the rules therein under have been complied with. So here this is form number 1. So form number 1 is just a summary in which you have to just tick mark. That is form number 1 completed 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 32, 35, 34, and so on. So here in this case, it is just a declaration form wherein it is showing a certain numbers, and accordingly you have made the compliances of all these respective forms or not. The declaration will be made by either an advocate of Supreme Court or High Court, or a practicing chartered accountant, or a director, or a manager, or a secretary named in the articles of a proposed company, section 33(2). So section 33 specifically states about who needs to sign this particular declaration. So this particular declaration can be signed either by an advocate who is a practicing advocate of either the Supreme Court or the High Court of the respective state or the country, and a practicing chartered accountant, or a director, or a manager, or a secretary, that is company secretary, and it must have a certain provisions in terms of articles of association. So if the articles gives a certain provision, gives a certain permission or a certain freedom with respect to the signing of this particular authority, so the statutory form of declaration number 1 can be signed by any of these persons, either advocate, CA, CS, and so on. Okay. Any difficulty at this stage? We have further steps of incorporation, don't worry. We are taking step by step. In the meantime, if you have any difficulty, you can please stop me, unmute yourself, and ask me. No one? Okay. moving with the first point, that is memorandum of association. So memorandum of association is the fundamental rules regarding the constitution of a certain company. So as in case of a certain country or a certain nation, we have our constitution wherein every article is been designed. That is article 1, 2, 3, article 323, article 750, 570 and so on. So in the same way, a particular book of record, a particular code of conduct which each and every company has to follow, each and company has to fulfill, wherein all the fundamental rules of a related to a company have been mentioned. Such type of document is called as a memorandum of association. It lays down how the company is going to be constituted and what is the work it shall undertake. So what are the various activities that a particular firm will undertake, what are the various participants in the organization, what are the various components of the business firm, everything which will be mentioned detailed in a minute consent. That particular consideration is called as a memorandum of association. It sets out the constitution of the company. So as we have the constitution of our own wherein which describes about the particular nation or a particular country, in the same way memorandum of association also describes or also specifically mentions about the different types of organizations or association which was mentioned and how does a company will flourish or it will undertake its business activities. Next, we have it is the foundation on which the structure of the company stands. So essentially, memorandum of association is essentially required, and you have to see that a proper foundation is being created, a proper set of rules, regulations, and record is being maintained, and every company must have those considerations. So for this consideration or the time being, we have to see that a proper memorandum is being prepared and it has been signed and it has been authorized by the authorities. Its purpose is to enable shareholders, creditors, and those who deal with the company to know what is the permitted range of its enterprise. So just to give the basic understanding, basic knowledge of the firm, it is necessary for every individual firm that the memorandum of association must be created and everyone must be familiarized with the firm. So anyone who is referring to the memorandum, they must be able to understand what the firm is actually about, what is the consideration about, what are the various business activities they have been undertaking, what are the various products, services, range of business, range of activities, and so on. So a proper basic information of the company is been provided in terms of memorandum of association. It defines as well as confines the power of company. So what does the power a company has? So how many number of directors have been appointed? What are the various rules, regulations, rights, liabilities, everything it has been mentioned in the memorandum. Now, what is a memorandum? Specifically, you need to remember it is just a written document which is having all these particular contents. So what are the contents? Name clause, registered office or situation clause, object clause, liability clause, capital clause, and association clause. I think there is no explanation. Kinds of shares, sources of capital, types of meeting. Memorandum. Wait a minute. I'll take the explanation orally. Now, name clause. The first clause of the memorandum shall state that the name of the proposed company. So whatever name of the company that you are proposing for, that is, if you want to register a particular business with a specific name, whether it is a private limited company, public limited company, and so on, you have identified your business activity, in which business vertical you want to register your business. Then accordingly, you have identified the business vertical. Second step that is being required, you have to find out the name for the business firm, business organization, and then you have to suggest a name to the ROC, that is Registrar of Companies. So here the first clause that will be mentioned in terms of memorandum is what is the name of the business firm. So here in this case, it will be mentioned that this particular firm or this particular company will be called as so and so company from today onwards, that is on the date it got registered. Undesirable name to be avoided. So here in this case, it is been suggested by the firm or by the ROC or by the Companies Act, that is whichever name which has been undesirable, which is not accepted, which is prohibited by the firm or by the business organizations or by the government, that particular name must not be used and it must not be adopted. Adoption of the certain words, that is private limited, public limited, as and when it is required. If a particular company feels that they can mention it as a private limited company or as a public limited company. But here in case, if a particular company specifically private limited company, then usually it has been suggested that you specifically mention the word that is private limited company. So here in most of the firms and most of the organizations, in order to avoid the confusion, in order to give clarity to the consumers and the business participants or the stakeholders, it has been suggested that the company must specifically mention each and every organization as a private limited company. So usually for private limited firms, it is quite mandatory and obligatory to follow. Prohibition of use of certain names. So certain names which have been not been permitted by the government, as I've said earlier, that is the use of name as Bharat, India, Hindustan, and so on. These particular names are not been permitted, but still, if you want to use these particular names, then accordingly you have to take a prior approval or the permission from the government, and accordingly additional charge has to be taken for. Or another concern, that is for use of national belongings. Now, national belonging, for example, the four-headed lion, that is the Sarnath that you want to see for, or either you want to use the photo of a peacock, or either you want to use the photo of either national game, national sports, national athletes, and so on. So anything which is of a national importance, if you want to use that particular commodity or that particular graphical representation, then accordingly everything has to be mentioned in the name clause. Use of some keywords as the authorized capital. So if a certain authorized keywords has to be used, that is, for example, corporation, business venture, and so on. So for this particular consideration also, you have to pay an additional amount, and this particular amount also differs in lakhs of rupees or in crores of rupees. For using the word that is India, Bharat, and so on, there are crores of fees that the government is charging as a part of an royalty, and accordingly you have to pay that particular amount to the government. Registered office clause. So registered office or situation clause specifically mention about in which business vertical you have been registered and what is your registered office of that particular firm. In case of your registered office, you have to specifically mention all the entire details of that particular place or that particular location, along with the state and along with the country that you are looking for. So if your firm has been registered in Maharashtra, then accordingly Maharashtra, India, it must be specifically mentioned. If your business is registered in Uttarakhand, Uttaranchal, Assam, Bihar, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, and so on, so accordingly you have to specifically mention in which state it is and what is the PIN code of that particular firm or the organization. So every company has to get his office registered, and accordingly they have to conduct the business activities at that particular location only. If any change is there in the registered office clause or the situation clause, then the same must be communicated within the 30 days with the prior permission and prior approval, and then only the registered office clause can be changed or it can be altered from one location to another location. Next thing you have is the object clause. The objective clause specifically focuses on what is the purpose, what is the motive, what is the aim for starting your business activity. So for identification of this particular purpose, you have to see that the object clause is also very clearly and specifically defined, and you are very clear about what is the business firm associated. Object clause also main objects and other objects. So here in this case, vision, mission, quality policy, standardized processes, and so on, long-term goals and short-term goals, everything has to be mentioned in perspective in the consideration of object clause. Liability clause specifically focuses on whether the company is limited by shares or company is limited by guarantee. So here in this case, if the company wants to go up for a winding up, and if the company money has to be recovered from the general public, or if you want to look for a certain consideration that is in the midway of the business you want to raise the money, or in the initial stage of the business you want to raise the money, then what you can do, you can provide a certain provision in the memorandum, and accordingly the amount can be increased. That is, if the initial amount that was being said in the resolution was been 1 lakh, and if you want to increase this particular amount from 1 lakh to 2 lakh, then accordingly prior approval or prior permission from the government has to be undertaken, and then only certain norms has to be fulfilled, and the name can be registered, object can be registered, and the liability can be created. Liability clause specifically focuses on the consideration of what will be the liability of that particular company, whether it is limited by shares or whether it is limited by guarantee. In case of limited of shares, if a particular business is been conducted, and if you want to conduct a certain business based on the only shareholding pattern or based on only the guarantee pattern, then accordingly you have to identify which business has to be selected, whether it should be completely cash oriented or a combination of cash plus credit, or completely it will be credit oriented. So here in this case, you have to properly identify the liability that has been associated with the members also, and the liability of the partners or the business owners also. Next thing is the consideration of capital clause. Capital clause specifically focuses on what amount of capital will be levied or what amount of capital can be raised by the particular firm in the general course of the duration or the course of point of time. So capital clause specifically focuses on, for example, if I have taken a particular business called as the business of purchasing the raw material or processing the raw material. So here in this case, initially it was been decided that each and every member was contributing 1 lakh, but if you want to increase this particular amount, then accordingly the provision has to be made in the capital clause, and if the capital clause permits for the expansion of the business activities, for the raising the money from the general public, then only the capital clause can be enforced and the money from the general public can be raised for. Or if you have a certain targeted orientation or target motive with respect to what should be the amount that has to be raised for, then accordingly you can specifically mention the amount in case of a registered office clause also. or the case of like capital clause also. Association clause. Association is a particular consideration wherein in which type of business verticals the company will be dealing with or company is getting associated with. Association clause always focuses on the consideration of what are the various changes in the business organization, how a particular business organization can change over a period of time, and accordingly what changes has to be undertaken in the business firm. So changing of any managing director, changing of any board of director, changing of the any member of the employee, and so on. Everything has to be undertaken in a proper consideration, and then only the association of the firm with the business activities, association of the firm with the different firms can be identified, and then only the contents of memorandums are said to be in a fulfilled or complete way. Any difficulty at this stage in understanding the contents of memorandum? Memorandum is always a written document which is being prepared by the company before starting the business activity. So before you get the permission, you have to sign the copy of memorandum with the register of association, and then the necessary action has to be undertaken. Yes, any question? Hello? No one? Do we move ahead? Okay. Now moving with the next point, that is articles of association. Articles are bylaws or rules or regulations for the government management of its internal affairs and conduct of business activities. So what is the articles of association? Articles of association are the set of rules, principle which each and every one or individual has to follow, and it gives a certain guidelines for the management of the firm in its internal affairs. So any of the activity which is related to the within the organization, for the conduction of business activity within the organization, there are certain set of rules, regulations, norms which each one of us has to follow, and if they are not been fulfilled or followed properly, then accordingly there can be a certain concept or the norms of violation of articles also. Always memorandum and articles goes hand in hand, and whenever it has been required that memorandum has to be drafted or memorandum has been approved, then simultaneously you have to draft or prepare the articles of association also, and you have to get the proper approval from the shares ROC, that is Register of Companies also. It also includes regulation contained in Table A of Schedule 1. So content A of Schedule 1 specifically focuses on what amount of business activity that you are going to carry, what will be the duration of the business, who are the participants of the business, and so on. So here in this case, everything has to be very crystal clear about the business activity that is been undertaken and how a business activity will be performed in the course of duration or point of time. Excuse me. Hello? Huh? Huh? हम्म हम्म. बरं बरं चालेल. ठीक आहे चालेल चालेल. हो ये. थँक्यू. हो. It deals with the right of the members inter se. So what are the various rights of members? What are the various powers, duties, authorities of the members in the firm or the organization? Everything it has been included in the articles of association. It also includes regulation contained in Table A of the Schedule 1. So there are certain tables, that is A, B, C, D, E, and each and every table is related with concern with the various different rules that you have to mention for. So Schedule 1 specifically mentions about what are the various firms, business organizations, which are the various activities that you have to undertake. Everything it has been mentioned in the Table A of Schedule 1 of the Articles of Association. Articles are subordinated to and controlled by the memorandum. So superior authority or greater authority is memorandum, and smaller or the lower authority is the articles of association. But it is mandatory for both the firm, whether it is a private or public limited company, everywhere, whether you are registered or unregistered, everyone must have their articles of association. Memorandum of association, it is called as an MOA, and articles of association is called as an AOA. articles of contains rules and regulations of internal management of the company. So how do a particular firm or how do a particular business organization conduct their business activities for a specific period or for a time being for that particular role of the business activity. Everything, all the rules, regulations, guidelines have been made available in terms of articles of association. Next thing, a contract between members and companies, and they shall abide by the rules and regulations of internal management. So for conduct of the business activities within the organization and outside the organization, what rules or ethics it has been mentioned in terms of articles of association. Now, what are the various contents of articles of association? I'll just read out with respect to the articles of association contents. First is the share capital, the right of shareholders, variations of these rights and payment of the underwriting commission, lien on shares, calls on shares, procedure for making allotment of shares, procedure for transfer of shares, procedure for issuing share certificate, transmission of shares, procedure for forfeiture and reissue of forfeited shares, share warrant, alteration capital, general meeting and general meeting and the proceedings thereto, voting rights of the members, voting and the poll proxies, directors, their appointment, remuneration, qualification, powers and proceedings of board of directors, and so on. Who is appointed as a manager, secretary, procedure for declaration of and payment of dividends and reserves, accounts and audits and borrowings, capital costilization of profits, and lastly the winding up. So here in this case, everything which is related to the business firm, business organization, power, duty, rights and authorities of the directors and members, rules for the conduct of the meeting, borrowing of the company from the general public, everything it has been mentioned, and accordingly you have to look for a certain consideration wherein the articles of association have been created and they provide a good platform or a background to the business firms or the organization. Articles of association, which is always unlimited companies with limited with their own guarantee, and private companies in India must have their own articles of association. So it has been made mandatory by the business firm having a particular turnover of rupees more than 50 lakhs or a 50 crore. Then accordingly they have to see that a proper articles of association has been formed, it has been duly prepared, and it has been filed with the ROC with a prior approval. Numbers must be printed and divided into paragraphs, short numbered consecutively, stamped adequately, signed by each member to the memorandum of association which are duly attested. So attested or witnessing a particular authority. So if any authority comes immediately on your location, accordingly they give a certain signature or a certain assent with respect to whether the agriculture environment is perfect or not perfect. Then here in this case, articles of association will help you to provide a certain information about how a memorandum and articles are beneficial. So each subscriber to the memorandum and articles. So here in this case, the arrangement of situation is made in such a way that a particular person or a particular firm which has been registered and they want to start their business activity, at every stage, every point of time, they will see and identify about how the articles of association are protecting the rights and duties of the members and how you are controlling the business activities in the long run. Alteration. So alteration means any changes in the alteration or any changes in the articles of association if it is been required. Can we make it or not? So here, subject to the provision of the Act and the memorandum provisions by the Act and memorandum, the articles, subsection 13(1), company awaited binds members. The alteration binds the members in the same way as the original article says. So here in this case, you may feel that alteration in the articles makes the particular article very quiet or very loose, but it is not the case in case of a memorandum or articles of association. Whatever document that is being signed by either you or by the other people, it is binding on both the parties, and accordingly both the one has to comply with, both one has to control and regulate the business activities only as and when it has been mentioned. Next thing, a company cannot in any manner deprive itself of the powers of the alteration in articles. So any articles alteration is required in terms of articles of association, then you have to take a certain decision with respect to a proper mind, state, body, and so on, and then only the alteration in the memorandum of association or articles of association has to be undertaken for. Limitations and alteration. So must not exceed the power with the provision of the Act. So here in this case, when we can say that alteration cannot escape or alteration cannot be treated as a public liability, it is only fact only when you have to see or you have to identify that the particular firm that you are going to register is the constitution of that particular firm. The business vertical is also been identified, and accordingly always it is providing a return for you. So based on the return that has been generated, based on the credit value that has been appointed, everyone looks for a certain concern about how the value of the business organization, business firms can be increased, and again the business rivals are being reduced to a minimum level. Okay. Yes. This is the new topic. We'll take it tomorrow in my next lecture. Okay. Any difficulty at this stage? Would anyone like to ask? Yes, any questions for you? Anyone? You can please unmute and ask me. Judicial pronouncement specially means whatever any citations or judgments are been given by either the Supreme Court or High Court of India. So based on that consideration, you can refer to those various judgments. They can be cited, and accordingly your chances of getting paper selected are much better, higher. No one? Okay. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you everyone for joining. Good day.